Easter is in full swing at Dollar Tree, so for today's video, I'm going to share with you some Dollar Tree DIYs for Easter that I think you're absolutely going to love. Plus, I have a giveaway in today's video, so make sure that you stay tuned for that. But without further ado, let's jump into our first DIY. For this DIY, I grabbed one of these bunny MDF cutouts from the Dollar Tree. I started by taking off the little pom-pom at the bottom and then the tie around the front. I'm going to be using the back as the front for this. So I'm going to start by using some white paint and giving my bunny one coat of paint. Next, I cut out this stencil using a mylar sheet and my laser. If you're interested in one of these checkered stencils, head over to my website, moorevinyldecals.com, and you can purchase a 12x12 of these stencils on there. But I am going to do a checkered pattern. I'm using a sponge and I'm going to go in up and down dabbing motions, and I made sure to dab off any of the excess paint. I didn't want my sponge to be like fully saturated, so anytime I'm dabbing it in the paint, I scrape the majority of it off and then go up and down. And then I'm going to pick up that stencil, lay it back down so that I can do the rest of the bunny, and I just hold that down with my hand. This is super easy to do, plus you can wash the mylar stencils. So if you want it nice and clean for your next project, you can wash it. I'm too lazy to do that, so I just leave the paint on there and reuse it again in another project, and it works perfectly every time. Now, I wanted my bunny to be a little bit more boho rustic kind of look to it, so I'm going to take the Waverly Wax and Antique, and then I also used a baby wipe to apply the wax, which I think worked really well, and it gave it kind of that rustic-y feeling to it. You could leave it just the plain black and white if you wanted, but I wanted to add a little bit more brown to my piece. Next, I'm going to make a bow. Now, I am not the best bow maker. I really struggle with this. I need to watch some tutorials on how to make bows because these are about as good as I can do. I take two different kinds of ribbon. I'm going to overlap one and then tie a simple bow with the other one, just like you would your shoes. And then I'm just going to layer those on top of each other with some twine, and that's really about it. It does look really cute, but I would love to learn how to make those really big bows. I don't know how to do it, but I'm going to learn. I'm going to figure it out, and I am going to make a big bow in my next DIY video. So you just keep an eye out for it. It'll be good. After I've dovetailed the ends, I am going to hot glue those two bows together. And then I am going to hot glue that bow to the top of my bunny. I'm going to re-add those beads that came with the sign in the beginning. I thought that the beads looked really cute with it. And that is it for this DIY. I love this so much. I love the way it turned out. I don't know what it is about the checkers, but I think it looks so cute for spring and Easter. And I just think that this DIY turned out absolutely adorable. For this DIY, I'm going to grab one of these 12x12 wood hanging decor pieces that you can get at the Dollar Tree, plus this garland of rabbits. I'm going to take 3 of those rabbits and remove the tails from all 3 of them. You could add these back on later if you wanted, but I didn't really feel the need to. I'm going to use some wood filler to fill in the holes on the sign and as well all the holes on the bunnies. Next, I'm going to use some white paint and paint my sign white. I just did a really rough coat. I didn't worry too much about getting it perfect. So there is some wood grain that you can still see, some of that wood color, which is totally fine. And then I'm going to paint my bunnies pink, in a cream color and then a lavender color. Again, I didn't give these a full coat. You can still see some of that MDF peeking through on all three of those bunnies. I wanted it to look a little bit more rough and distressed, so I just gave it a really rough coat. I wanted to give my sign a top and bottom frame, so I'm just using some painter's tape to outline a line for me. I just take 2 pieces so that I make sure that I get the line nice and straight, and then add my painter's tape to the top and the bottom. I'm going to go in with my Waverly Wax and Antique to give those lines on there, or the frame. Now you could use just regular paint. You don't really need to use the wax. In fact, mine kind of bled a little bit, so after I took the paint off, I did go back through and give it a little bit more of a darker look as well. Next, I'm going to grab this transfer that I got off of Amazon. It came in a 2-pack, so here is today's giveaway. I'm going to give away one of these Welcome to Our Farmhouse silkscreen transfers. If you want to enter to win, comment down below the word Easter. And then I'll pick a winner on Thursday the 20th. All the details will be listed down in my description box below for the giveaway. So again, if you want to enter, make sure to leave a comment with the word Easter. Now once I've got my transfer on there, I'm going to use my Couture paste and ink and a little squeegee, and I'm going to apply the paste all over the word welcome and then the little flowers. That's all I'm going to do for this one. I'm going to peel that up and you've got yourself these really pretty flowers, and the word welcome just makes crafting so much easier. I love silkscreen transfers. These ones were really fun. Now I'm going to hot glue my bunnies down to the sign, the cream one in the middle, and then the lavender and pink one on the sides. And that's all you got to do for this one. I think this turned out so cute. Very rustic, kind of boho farmhouse vibe to it. I'm loving the bunnies this year, so I have a lot of bunnies in our videos, but I think these just turn out so adorable, and nobody would ever know that the majority of this DIY came from the Dollar Tree. For this DIY, I grabbed this big sign that came from Hobby Lobby. Now, I wanted a very large sign. You could use these slat planks that you can get from the Dollar Tree. You'd need 3 of them. I just didn't want the seams in the middle. I wanted one seamless piece, but this is a Dollar Tree option that you can do if you don't want to go to Hobby Lobby and purchase the larger sign. Now I'm going to start by painting the entire thing white. Again, I am not going to worry about getting this perfectly covered. If some of that wood still shows through behind the paint, that's perfectly okay with me. I am going to grab one of these frames from the Dollar Tree. I took the inserts out, and I'm also going to take some sea spray from Dixie Belle. I'm going to put that in a little container. Now you only need a little bit, especially if your piece is this small. You really don't need too much of the sea spray. You're going to add your paint in with the sea spray and mix it all up. If it's still too thick and chunky, I would add more paint to thin it out a bit, but I wanted to use the sea spray to add some texture to the frame. I didn't want it to just be a seamless, creamy frame. I wanted there to be some texture to make it look grungy and old. We are going to go in with some rub and buff as well to help with that grungy look a bit, but for now I'm going to give it 2 coats of this paint. I'm using a cream colored paint with the sea spray as well. And then I'm going to take the back of that insert that came with the frame, and I'm going to give that 2 coats of white paint. Now I'm going to use that same Mylar stencil that we used in our very first project, and I am going to checker the entire piece. I don't know what it is about checkers this year, but I think that it is so pretty and so fun. I just love it a lot. You'll probably see more checkered DIYs in the future, but I just think it's so much fun. So I'm going to go through, lay down my stencil, and add some paint, lift it up, add some paint, and do that until my entire piece is covered in the checkers. Now once that is done and my frame is dry, I'm going to take some bronze rub and buff on a paintbrush, and I am going to dry brush over the entire thing. Again, I wanted this to look weathered and old and give it some fun texture and detail to it, so I just kind of dry brushed over the entire thing. Now, I got these rub-on transfers from Essential Stencils. These were the first time that I'd ordered from them and used them, and I can say I am very, very impressed. If you want a link, I'll leave it down below, and you can also use the code LizMoore to save 10% off of your order. But I love these. I think they're so cute. I love the bees and the flowers and the honey pot. I just love it so much. So I'm going to cut this piece out. I'm going to insert my backing into the frame and add the rub-on transfer on top. Essential Stencil sends these little scraper tools with your order, so I use this to scrape on the transfer and then scrape and pull at the same time, and then you have a really pretty image into your frame, which I just love so much. Now again, I wanted my piece to not be totally stark white and black. I wanted kind of that boho rustic vibe to it. So I'm going back in with my Waverly Wax and Antique and waxing the entire thing. And then I'm going to glue my frame down right to the middle, and that is it for this DIY. I think this turned out so adorable. I love it so, so much. I love those Essential Stencil transfers. I just think they're so pretty. And then just the whole thing, I'm just loving it. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. If you like the checkered for spring or Easter or just in general, let me know your thoughts on it. For this DIY, I grabbed 3 different size eggs from the Dollar Tree, and we are going to DIY them, change them all up, and put them all together. So the first thing I'm going to do is Mod Podge the largest egg, and I'm going to use the back as the front. So I'm going to use Mod Podge on the entire thing. Make sure to get your whole entire board completely covered with Mod Podge, and then we are going to let it completely dry. Now you can use your Mod Podge wet if you like. I prefer to use mine dry. That's just how I like to use it. I never have luck when I'm using it wet, so I let the whole thing dry. I grabbed some scrapbook paper from Hobby Lobby that I thought was perfect for Easter, and I love those lavendery colors. I'm going to set that on top of my egg and trace that out using a pencil, and then I will go through with my scissors and cut the entire thing out. Once that's done, you can add some parchment paper on top of your egg, and then using your Cricut Mini Heat Press on all the way hot, you're going to go over the entire thing. Now this is going to reactivate your Mod Podge and get your Mod Podge to stick to your paper. And you'll get a seamless, wrinkle-free finish every single time. And then I'm going to take a chippy brush and some of that Waverly Wax and Antique, and I'm going to distress my egg all over the entire thing. I'm going to go in with this apple barrel in lavender sachet, and I am going to paint my middle-sized egg with that color. Again, I love the lavender this year. I think it's so, so pretty for Easter. And I'm just going to paint that entire thing, gave it one good coat. And then I'm going to go in with this little plank from the Dollar Tree. I'm just going to use it to draw some shiplap lines on the egg. So I just do that 3 times, move my plank up, draw another line, and then I'm going to go in with my Waverly Wax and Antique and distress it up a bit all over the top, bottom, sides. I'm also going to go through the middle a little bit, use a flat brush, and go over those shiplap lines that we drew. I'm going to set that to the side, and we are going to work on our third egg. I'm going to grab the smallest one and then some of this scrapbook paper from Hobby Lobby with the little bunnies on it. I thought that was absolutely adorable. I just traced that out and then cut that out with some scissors. And then I'm just going to use a good old glue stick for this one. Just glue it right on there with your glue stick and add my paper right on top. Next, I'm going to make a scrappy bow, just using 2 different kinds of ribbon. Again, I am not the best at this, you guys. I don't know how you all get your bows to look so good. Every time I do mine, I feel like it looks so ridiculous. So bear with me on the bows. I am going to teach myself, and I'm going to learn how to do it. I am going to hot glue my middle-sized egg to my biggest egg just on the side, giving it a little tilt, and then gluing my smallest egg to the bottom, and then I'll glue that bow to the top of my purple egg, and that is it for this one. I love these colors all paired together and the scrapbook paper all paired together. I think it's really pretty. These would also look really fun on a big sign, maybe with those smaller eggs and doing that same paper and color design. I don't know, maybe I'll do a DIY with that. We'll see, but that is it for this DIY. For this DIY, you are going to need the tumbling tower blocks that you can get from the Dollar Tree, and also the wood glue super glue that you can get from the Dollar Tree. Now I'm going to make this pattern until I have it as long as I want it to be. So you are just going to kind of angle each of your little Jenga pieces and put those on each one, stacking them all the way up until you get it as long as you want it. I'm probably describing that terribly, but you can see the pattern that I'm doing right here. You just want to make sure you're getting glue on all sides where all the sides meet. I didn't add any other kind of glue to this, and it is pretty sturdy. You could also add a popsicle stick to the back if you wanted to give it that extra support, but I found just using the wood glue super glue worked great. Now, once you have it as big as you want it, I'm going to go in with this burnt orange from Americana, and I'm going to give the entire thing one good coat of paint. So you're going to do the front, back, and all the sides. You want to make sure the entire thing is fully covered in this orange paint. Next, I'm going to grab several different fabrics, and I am going to cut a little slit into all of them and then rip all the way down. I wanted this to have a ripped look rather than a cut look, and I'm just going to do that to all the pieces of fabric that I pulled out. I wanted to make a ribbon scrappy bow, so I'm just going to measure out how long I need that ribbon to be, and then go through with all the rest of the ribbons and match the size to that first one. And then I'm going to start laying out my fabric just in an X, just over and over, and then use more of that fabric to tie all the scraps together. Now I have this pick that came from Michael's. I'm going to grab 3 different pieces from the pick, and I am going to glue these to the top of our carrot. So I'm just going to add one on each side and then add one on the back to give it those green stems, and then I will glue the bow to the top. And that's all you have to do to make yourself a Jenga block carrot. I think this is so stinking cute. I love it so much, and although it does kind of remind me of a Minecraft sword that my son has, so it kind of reminds me of a toy, but if you have no idea what that is, it'll definitely just look like a carrot. But that is it for today's video. I hope that you guys enjoyed these DIYs. Let me know in the comments which one was your favorite. Again, comment the word Easter if you'd like to be entered into today's giveaway. Don't forget to subscribe before you guys leave. Give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!